Happy Tuesday, mathematicians. Today for a math workshop, you're going to need your highlighters, glue stick, pencil, math notebook, and your blue resource folder that's located in your anchor binder. So please go ahead and take your anchor binder and open it up to that blue folder. On the left-hand side, you're going to be taking our teach pages today, so carefully take the clip off. You're going to take out the lesson that says subtract whole numbers and greater numbers. And the practice page that starts with the example on the top that says reasoning a crayon company makes. So make sure you take out the correct 2 pages. The remaining pages, go ahead and make sure that they're all still nice and neat. Put your clip back on. Keep everything on the left side. Close your anchor binder and place that back in your basket. Today we're going to be continuing on with our unit on place value, subtraction, and addition. So let's go ahead back to where we finished our lesson yesterday on addition of whole numbers. So we're going to be continuing on. Yesterday was 32 and 33. So make sure you only flip 1 page so we have enough pages for the remaining lessons of the year. And we're going to write page 34 in the top left corner and page 35 in the top right corner. Then we're going to go ahead and turn back to the table of contents. We're going to be putting number 34 on the table of contents and recording today's title or focus, which is called Subtract Whole Numbers. And then today's date is 9-15-20. Once you're done, go ahead, turn back to the pages we just labeled at the top. Remember, at any point, you can pause your video to get yourself caught up and stay organized, and then push play when you're ready to continue. So we're going to start with our teach page that has today's lesson title, and we're going to place it on the left, which is page 34. Remember that you must be following directions on what pages that you are placing these teach pages so you can keep yourself organized, and then when we refer back to a lesson, you know where to turn in your notebook. Smooth that down. Remember to rewrite your number if it was covered partially. And then the practice side, you're going to do the same thing. Use your glue stick, crisscross through the middle, smooth it down. I'm just going to rewrite my number. So as I said, we're going to be continuing on with our lessons on place value and addition and subtraction information. So this is working with our number sense of numbers and how we can manipulate them when we put things together or we take values apart. So we're going to start at the top by highlighting our title for today, or the focus of what we're learning. So highlight where it says subtract whole numbers and greater numbers. So remember, in 4th grade, we're working with numbers up into the millions period. So we need to be ready to work with big numbers. Then we're going to start with our vocabulary review. Let me just smooth out my page a little. It says to regroup is to name a whole number in a different way. So yesterday we talked about regrouping our values when we had an answer, when we found the sum. If it was 2 digits, we had to regroup to the next place value. So here it says to regroup is to name it in a whole different way. So that was taking our ones place that had 2 digits and separating it into what was then considered to be the ones place and then adding it to the tens column instead. So that was a process of renaming. So out to the side, I want us to put a little reminder before we continue that if we have any questions on renaming numbers, we had a lesson that we've already completed on renaming numbers. So we're going to say review renaming numbers, and we're going to put what page that was on. So on page, and then we're going to look back to see where renaming numbers are. So when we look back, we see that renaming numbers is on page 28. So we're going to remind ourselves that if we need to have a review of how to rename numbers, we can go back to that particular lesson to kind of look at those examples. So now jumping back into our teach portion, it says sometimes the numbers from which you are subtracting will have 1 0. Regroup the 100 as 10 tens to write 403 in a different way. So for this particular one, they're showing us the original number, which is 4 flats. So this is the 400, and then 3 units. So we have to remember what our manipulatives are called from our primary grades. So we have the flats, which represent the hundreds place, and the units, which represent the ones place. So if they're asking us to take away one of those flats to rename it to still have the same value, we have to then be able to tell what is a smaller manipulative that represents that hundred still. So if we take away a flat, and you can see the line that's joining it, we could then transfer it into 10 what we call rods. So when we change one flat into 10 rods, the value is still the same. So we can even write that, say, one flat is equivalent to 10 rods, which we know is a 100 is still equal to 100. It's just showing in a different way. So if we take the value, we still are having 3 hundreds because we didn't change those 3 flats, and we can even put that in parentheses, flats. We now have 10 tens or 10 rods, and our units never changed because we didn't need to do that. So we're going to put that in parentheses to put our manipulative words. So when Mrs. Ling talks about the different place values and we're looking specifically at manipulatives, we need to know the terminologies for those. So flats are hundreds, rods are tens, and units are ones place. So when we looked at our value of saying 403 is still represented with that value of 403, but shown in a different way. The next time it says, sometimes the number you are subtracting from will have 2 zeros. Regroup the 100 as 9 tens and then 10 ones. So this time we're looking at the original value of our 4 hundreds or 4 flats. So if we say that our names of our manipulatives, let's just go ahead and jot that down so we can make sure that we have that written for ourselves. So we're taking one of those flats away and then transferring it into 9 of the rods and 10 units. So even though they have lots of different manipulatives showing, they're still equivalent values because the 9 plus 10 ones is still going to give us that original 100. So we're going to say that the 3 flats that are left stay the same. The 1 flat was transitioned into 9 tens or 9 rods, and now we have 10 units or 10 ones. So the value has stayed the same. Now we're looking at a different way to do an algorithm. Yesterday we talked about algorithm was a set of steps in order to show an addition problem. Well, today we're going to be showing an algorithm or a set of steps to show a subtraction problem. So we are going to be using our understanding of renaming a number by not changing the value of it originally, but just shifting some of the place values to still represent that same number, but that way we can use it when we actually subtract. So looking at our steps to subtract, we always begin in the ones place like we do in addition. So we have a saying to say, if we look at what we have, 3 minus 8, we say there's more on the floor, we go next door and borrow 10 more. So if I'm trying to take 8 away from 3, I can't do it. 8 is too big of a number. So I need to go next door to borrow 10. So I take that and I leave it with a 0, bring over the 10 to now make this a 13 ones. And that's just written really small, so you might want to rewrite that to say that that's 13 ones. Now I can subtract the 13 minus 8 because there's more up top. No need to stop, so 13 minus 8 leaves me with 5. So I record my 5. Going to the next step in the algorithm, we had it as a 0, because we just borrowed for the ones place. So we would have 0 minus 6. There's more on the floor. We go next door and borrow 10 more. When we borrow 10 more, that means we're taking one of the values away from the digit that's there and bringing it to the place value that I was working with. So if we borrow 10 to a 0, 10 plus 0 leaves me with 10. So now the tens place is the value of a 10. So now we have 10 minus 6. There's more up top. No need to stop. So that difference is 4, and we record it. Moving to the hundreds place, we were left with 8, and we're subtracting 4. So there's more up top. No need to stop. 8 minus 4 leaves me with 4 as a difference. I always place the comma to show the break in the period, and I move to the thousands place. 7 minus 0, there's more up top, no need to stop, so 7 minus 0 is 7. And moving to the last place value in the 10,000s, 5 minus 2, there's more up top, no need to stop, 5 minus 2 is 3. So my difference for this problem following the steps of the algorithm are 37,445. Be very careful to subtract in the right direction. We always start at the top and work our way down. So we say that we have the value at the top number and we're taking away the bottom value. You can't go in reverse just because numbers aren't working the way they are. Remember, top number is what you have, take away the bottom number, and we can even remind ourselves. So top number is what you have. Take, we can put another star. Take the bottom number away from the top. So remember, top number is what you have. So you can even say there's that many M&Ms, and you're taking away the bottom number to say how many M&Ms do I have left once I've done the subtraction. And that would be a lot of M&Ms, so you might like that. All right, the next problem you're going to do is following the algorithm steps again. So we're going to start on the ones place, and we have our saying of more up top, no need to stop. You can continue to subtract, or more on the floor, go next door, borrow 10 more. So the first place value, we have 2 minus 0, more up top, no need to stop. The difference is 2. Going to the next place value in the tens place, 4 minus 1, more up top, no need to stop. 4 minus 1 is 3 as the difference. In the hundreds place, 6 minus 4, there's more up top, no need to stop. 6 minus 4 is 2. Then I place the comma to show the break in the period. Moving to the thousands place, 3 minus 2, more up top, no need to stop. 3 minus 2 is 1. In the 10,000 spot, 5 minus 6, that's more on the floor. I need to go next door, borrow 10 more. So I take one of the values of the digit that's there, and I'm moving it over by adding a 10 to the digit that was in need. So I would have 5 plus the 10 I just borrowed to make this now a 15 for that place value. Now I can continue to subtract because I have 15 minus 6. There's now more on top, no need to stop. That difference is 9. And then moving to the last place value, 5 minus 5, they cancel each other out, so I don't need to write any difference of a value. So my answer for the difference between these two numbers is 91,232. Go ahead and pause your video. Try to work on subtracting this problem correctly by borrowing when needed, and then push play to check your answer. All right, looking at checking your answer, we're starting the ones place. 8 minus 3, there's more up top, no need to stop. That difference is 5. Moving to the tens place, I always start at the top. 2 minus 5, there's more on the floor. I need to go next door and borrow 10 more, so I borrow a digit. Add that as a 10 to the digit in need, so that's now a 12. 12 minus 5, more up top now, no need to stop. That difference is going to be a 7. Moving to the hundreds place, I have a 0 minus 7. There's more on the floor. I go next door, borrow 10 more. So that means I'm taking away a digit of That 9, it brings it to an 8. The 10 is added to the previous place value. So that 0 is turned into a 10 instead. Now I can look at subtracting. 10 minus 7, there's more up top, no need to stop, so the difference is 3. Place the comma to show the break in the periods. Looking in the thousands position, 8 minus 3, more up top, no need to stop, the difference is 5. So please make sure you've checked your work, that you've regrouped and borrowed from the correct place values, you've added the correct values, and you will receive the correct difference in those numbers. Moving on to our right side, we have some examples that we're going to do together. So the first one at the top is a reasoning problem. So we have to be able to analyze the information that they're giving us within this word problem. And we need to remember that you must show your work by underlining, boxing, and circling, and then showing all work needed to solve to this side. So this question says a crayon company makes 87,491 blue crayons. So I'm going to go ahead and just circle. And remember to circle the number with the label. 36,262 red crayons. So I'm circling that as a second value. And 25,063 gray crayons. So I circle that as a third value. How many more, so this is a question, how many more blue crayons are made than red and gray crayons combined? So looking at that question carefully, it's asking me to use this in two different ways. The first thing I need to think about is when it says red and gray crayons combined. So when I see that word combined, that tells me that I'm going to be adding values. So that's an addition sign. So before I do anything else, I'm going to start with that problem. So I'm going to mark the R to indicate this is my red value, so 36,262. So I'm even going to put this as a step 1. And then my gray crayons are 25,063. And we said combine means I'm adding those two values to find the sum. So make sure you've written that this is step 1. I have to do this before I can actually answer my question. So starting in the ones position, I add 2 plus 3 is 5. Next position, 6 plus 6 is 12. Since it's 2 digits, I record the ones place, regroup what's in the tens place. Then I add the regrouped number. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 0 stays 3, so I record it. Place the comma. Now in the thousands position, 6 plus 5 gives me 11, which is a 2-digit number, so I record what's in my ones position of the number, regroup my tens position, and now I add the regrouped 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6. The combined total of red and gray is 61,325. That's step 1. Step 2, we go back to the question. It says, how many more blue crayons are there than those combined colors? So that tells me that I need to write my blue crayons first. So that was 87,491. Because it says how many more, I'm going to box that and say that that indicates that I'm going to use subtraction. So I need to subtract my combined value. So it was 61,325. So you can even write that this was red and gray. So I have my blue. I'm taking away the combined total of what I just solved to find. So now I'm going to find the difference by subtracting. Remember, the top is what I have. I'm taking away the bottom. So I start in my one spot. 1 minus 5, there's more on the floor. I go next door, borrow 10 more. So that means I'm borrowing a digit. So that leaves an 8 in the tens place. Because I borrowed 10 more, that 10 is added to the value of the original position, which makes this an 11. So we have 11 minus 5 more on top now. No need to stop. That difference is 6. Going to the 10 spot, 8 minus 2, there's more up top. No need to stop. That difference is 6 again. Moving to the hundredths position, 4 minus 3, more up top. No need to stop. The difference is 1. place the comma, the thousand spot, 7 minus 1 more up top, no need to stop, the difference is 6. And moving to the last place value, 8 minus 6 more up top, no need to stop, the difference is 2. So when I find the difference between the blue crayons and the combined of the red and gray, I need to make sure I label this with the correct label. So this is the difference of how many blue crayons are left. So we would say 26,166. The last question, it's a practice question. It says higher order thinking. So this is going to be a little bit harder for us to do. It says Nadia found 9,476 minus 800,185 using the algorithm shown. Show how to find 1,784 minus 1,339 with Nadia's algorithm. So we look at what is provided there to see how the actual problem is solved. So this problem is written horizontally, remember, side by side. So we had 9,476, that's the original number. We're taking away 8,185, and they're just showing the answer in almost like a standard form. They're breaking it down into different values. So if this is the answer, they're going to show how this bracketed portion will total back up. So they're saying, well, I could say 1,000 plus 300 minus 10 plus 1 would give me that value. So we're going to do the same type of work if we look at the actual problem. So it says 1,784 minus 1,339. So they're looking at place value to place value. So the original was the place value of the 9 minus the 8 in the thousand spot to get 1,000. So we're going to do the same thing. So 1,000 minus 1,000, there's nothing to record in the thousand spot. So now we move to the hundreds position. We say 7 minus the 3 gives me the value of 400. We move to the tens position. 8 minus 3 gives me the difference of 50. So 8 and 3 are in the tens position. So we say that equals 5 tens, which is 50 in return. The last spot is going to change the actual symbol that goes between. Because we have a 4 taken away, a 9, that means there would have been more on the floor. So instead of saying that it's adding to the answer, we're going to change it to say we're actually needing to do some regrouping. So we're switching the symbol for the answer. So when we said the difference between 4 and 9, we're saying, well, that's a difference of 5, but we switched that symbol to represent the regrouping that would have been needed. Now, when we rewrite this equation as an actual value, we could say 400 plus 50 is 450. If we also then take away 5 from that, we are left with 445. So this particular problem is a higher order thinking because you have to use your problem solving to think of a problem in a slightly different way using an example as your guide. Today, for the remaining part of your classwork, you need to write your 3 to 5 sentences explaining how to solve a subtraction problem by using the algorithm or set of steps that's on the left. Then you are going to be working on your next pages that are posted in your lesson in your Envision workbook, which is your black and white pages. When you're done, take a picture of both sides of your teach page and both sides of your workbook page to submit for today's assignment.